Hey everybody, it's your girl Annette J. Morris, the host of the Mind TV series, where we bring on a bomb boss every week that's going to talk to you about how they made their journey through entrepreneurship and how entrepreneurship has moved their life in new directions. And also, I am the owner of Go Getter LLC, and y'all know it's our vision at Go Getter LLC to help women to convert their passions and monetize it into a 6 to 7 figure business so that they can leverage the business to support their lives and legacies. So this week will not disappoint y'all. I bought y'all a bomb somebody. I spent the whole weekend with her last weekend. We might talk about that. We might not. I don't know. But I'm gonna let her introduce. Y'all can see the name on the screen, Nurse T. But I'm gonna let her introduce herself to y'all. T, tell them who you are.
Hey, everybody. So I am Nurse T. I am a 7-figure healthcare business coach and consultant based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And what I do is I help other healthcare entrepreneurs shift from the bedside into business. So basically, I do startups. We focus on the startup, the conception, the scaling, everything when it comes to healthcare businesses. And so I'm super excited to be here today with you, Annette. I thank you for having me on, and I'm just excited to share.
Yes. So this is good. I love to talk about this because, again, you started out being a nurse. You started out at bedside and then made the transition into entrepreneurship. What happened that made you say, listen, I want to get from this bedside to being my own boss to being an entrepreneur? How did that transition take place?
Yeah, so I've been a registered nurse for 23 years. My background is in med surg, so that's like everything. You know what I mean? That's not that specialty covers everything. And it's a lot of work. I'm actually 3rd generation of nurses in my family. There's a 4th and 5th to follow. But my grandmother was actually the first nurse anesthetist, Black nurse anesthetist in the city of Philadelphia, actually the state of Pennsylvania. And so I come from a long line of nursing, and we were taught that, you went to school, you got your degrees, you got your career, and you worked. And that was good until I started realizing that I was tired of trading like my time for dollars, right? Yes. I watched my grandmother all of my life, my mother, everybody was always at work. Right. I didn't have the story with the grandmamas who house you could go over and eat dinner and things like that. My grandmama worked. Right. And so when I became a grandmother myself, I started realizing that I didn't want to have those same memories. I didn't want that to be my story. I wanted my grandchildren to know their granny, to be able to come over to have bonding time and not me just be a slave to the time clock. That combined with politics and the nursing industry just changing, now nurses are not respected the way we used to be. Hospital politics. It's a business. At the end of the day, healthcare is a business, and sometimes we're just not protected the way we should be. And then COVID, you saw the pandemic. Our lives were literally at risk, right? Yes. We couldn't even get PPE, we couldn't get masks and things like that. Now, I transitioned prior to the pandemic, but thankfully so, because I did not have to risk my life.
Right. To save somebody else's. That's
exactly. And so that's what transitioned me. One night I was at work and I was I've been thinking about starting a business. My first business was a home health agency. I still have that agency. And I was like, what can I do? How can I, still utilize my talents and my degrees, right? But on my own terms, be financially free, be time free. And that's what prompted me to, at that time I was traveling. And I said, you know what? This is going to be the last contract that I signed.
Wow.
I think God prepared me for that. He kind of moved me in that direction because that particular morning, there was an incident with another nurse. And again, I was on contract, I was traveling, and there was always some animosity with the travel nurses opposed to the staff nurses, because obviously we made 3 times their salary. We were coming in, taking over, and they're like, who are these nurses? We don't even know them. And I got into not a physical altercation. It could have got to that, but it didn't. And I realized that, and I was not protected. Let's just put it that way. And I almost ended up, because I was going to jail that day. I was prepared. I had called my husband, get my bail money together. I'm going to jail. I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
Macon, Georgia. And it's not the same there for African-American professionals.
Not
protected. And that was when I made up my mind that I would no longer be handled. I would do the handling. And that was my shift.
Yeah.
From then on, I went full time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it is, and again, we can't fault our grandparents and parents or whatever it is, because they did what they knew, to be best at that particular time. But now we know that there's so many other ways that we can leverage the skills that we have. We can leverage our knowledge, right? So you can have a degree, be a nurse, but you don't have to be by bedside. There's so many other options, right? Yeah. And it's the same, like I try to tell the same thing to therapists or whatever, because again, I have a master's degree in community counseling or whatever, right? So as a counselor or whatever, they teach us in school, you see clients, you talk about the diagnosis. The highest aspiration for the field is like getting a license, right? So when you think, hey, I'm a licensed therapist or whatever, you think you at the top of that particular game, right? That's the game that they put you in or whatever, but you're still not making a lot of money. Like I have clients that are licensed therapists, and I'm telling her, like, I'll use, for example, one of mine is an LPC. And I see her every Tuesday, and I'm like, what are you doing for self-care? Because right now you don't even sound like you have any days off. She was like, I don't. I was like, then you are running yourself in the ground.
Exactly.
You are compromising your mental well-being for the sake of $1. Like, and then come to find out, like, she's not even making 6 figures. Like, she literally has 5 or 6 jobs working for different agencies. She make a, little bit here, little bit there, little bit here. You know what I mean? Like, and you're doing all of this, and at some point you're gonna be your own patient in a minute, right? Because you're gonna have to break, right? So then teaching these professionals beyond even what the school is offering them, right? Do you notice like is there any like resistance? Because like with me working with therapists, they're so boxed in mentally, like, I don't know how I could do it. And I'm like, I'm telling you how you could do it. I've shown you, like, I've done this for the last 12 years, right? And then they're uncomfortable with charging these particular prices, because as a therapist, hey, I get paid $30 an hour. Whereas a coach, you could charge $100 an hour. You could charge $200, right? And so they're uncomfortable with that. So even like breaking their mindset in to say, you should be more comfortable with doing this. I understand that therapist said this, but you can do this on this side of the field. Do you have that or get that type of resistance with nurses as well?
I do all the time. In fact, I'm a nurse practitioner. I hold 2 master's degrees in nursing. My first was in education. The second is family nurse practitioner.
Okay.
And I talk to a lot of nurses all the time because, like, for instance, here in the state of Georgia, as an NP, if I were working in the hospital, I'd be making the same, if not less than what I was making traveling as an RN.
Wow.
Right. Even with all of these advanced degrees. And so I tell them, especially other MPs, like, you're a slave to the time clock. You're making RN money. You're on somebody else's time, when you can take that same experience and that same knowledge, and you can be working on your own independently, doing a plethora of things under your license on your own. But a lot of times I do get that resistance because there's something about the security of a paycheck.
Yeah.
The security of a paycheck. And I'm like, sis, you be making 7 figures in business as a nurse practitioner, but you want to stay at the hospital or the doctor's office, and you're just making 6 figures.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do meet that resistance.
That's a false sense of security.
Because very false.
If the hospital lets you go, then what?
Or if you get, like you said, you're gonna end up being your own patient. It's stressful.
Right. Yeah.
It's stressful. You're running ragged. Right now in the industry, we're at a huge shortage, right? So there's just, it's work out there, but you're running yourself crazy. One of the things with me, like a real true life experience, is since last year, I've been caregiver to my father, disabled father. And I think about how, had I still been working somewhere, I would not have been able to be present for him, correct, or any of my family in case anything happened. Right. You know what I mean? And so, you try to, my main platform to other healthcare professionals is, yes, you could very well certainly be working for any institution, but there's so much more that you can do on your own in business that will allow you the time and the financial freedom that we all seek.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what are some of the services that you offer to these healthcare professionals? Like, what type, is there any businesses in particular that you kind of help them to get open? I know the answer to that. I just want my audience to know.
Well, we specialize in, my theme is, develop, diversify, and dominate. We help.
So they can live out of Davenports?
That's right. The Davenports. That's who we like to serve.
Okay.
Cash money, right? The Davenports who live out there on the hill with the doves and the waterfalls. Right. Absolutely.
The Davenports, yes.
The Davenports. So we do a lot of home health care setups, diagnostic testing, med spas, clinics for my nurse practitioners, full clinics, med aesthetics. I actually own a med aesthetic spa where we do Botox and fillers and medical aesthetic services, non-invasive body sculpting, that type of thing, IV therapy. There's so many things you can do. Transportation, personal care, home. Like there are so many things you can do. Every nurse, I tell this all the time. Every nurse has a specialty. Whatever your specialty or your training is in, you can turn that into a business. I've done startups for nurses who love doing wound care. Guess what? Now you got a private agency where you're serving multi-million-dollar contracts to third-party entities like nursing homes and things like that to go in and do their wound care. Foot care nurses. I've got nurses who are consultants. Like I said, anything that your training or your knowledge will provide you, you can turn that into a business. And that's what we do. That's what we represent.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so, and I heard you say, like, you have a family of nurses. Was there any point in time in life where you considered that you didn't want to be a nurse, or was that, like, always your lane of, I'm gonna follow this track forever?
So, fun fact. I went to nursing. I went to college right out of high school. And then I became a young mother at 18, actually. First year in college, ended up getting pregnant, right? And I looked at it and I was like, you know what? I don't have time for this college thing. I got to take care of my babies. And I took a liking. I always took a liking to doing hair. So when I came out of school, had my daughter, then came another one. You know how the story goes. Then came another one. But I was a licensed cosmetologist. Still am. I still keep my licenses up in Pennsylvania, where I'm from. And so I had salons. And for 15 years, I did hair. It wasn't until I moved to Georgia that I realized that it was a hustle that I didn't want to chase anymore. And I went back and finished for my degree, and the rest was history. So yeah, I was rebellious because I was like, you know, everybody's nurses. I'm not doing it. You know, and then you get told, oh, you're too smart to be doing hair. You know, you should finish your college degree, this, that, and the next. But for me, I just wanted a little bit more stability in my career. You know, because when you're doing hair and when your clients are broke, you broke.
Yeah. True.
So that's what took me into healthcare, and I've been here since. And I kind of feel like, okay, this was always in my blood.
Yeah,
ran from it, but it was always there.
Yes,
and
yeah. Just led you right on back to it.
Led me right on back.
Absolutely, and that's funny because I can remember when I was a little girl, I used to always say I wanted to be a teacher, right? So like all the elementary school or whatever, I would have my baby dolls set up and I'm teaching them just all kind of stuff. I'm just teaching everybody. And I can remember my older cousin used to always come to the house and she said, baby, because me and my brother were always like really, really smart. And my mom always bought us like educational toys. So like Christmas stuff, like we would get a few little play things, but we would get other stuff like Speak and Say. We played Scrabble. We played educational stuff or whatever.
Right.
And so when they would come to the house, if they was doing it wrong, I'd just be like, give it here. Let me show you how to do it or whatever. Right. So she was like, you definitely supposed to be a teacher. But then I got to high school and I was like, teachers don't make no money.
That part, I still want to live good, right?
I don't want to be part of the struggle. So my initial thing when I went to college, I was like, I'm going to be a nurse because nurses make money. But I realized nursing is something that you have to be called to internally, right? You have to have a passion for it and you have to be called to. And I didn't. And I realized that early on. So I was like, yeah, I can't see me doing this. Let me just figure out.
It's definitely not for the weak at heart. When it comes to the boo-boo and the vomit and the phlegm and all of that, you have to, it's not for everyone.
Right.
And you know, that's a problem that we're seeing in healthcare now because of the fact that the profession is attached to a dollar sign. So we're getting a lot of people coming in. I mean, if you get through school, but they really don't have that passionate heart.
Correct.
So you see that in healthcare. You see people who were just there for a paycheck and not really there because they have a caring nature.
Correct.
So it is very true. You have to have, it's got to be something that's in you, you know.
And you got to identify if you don't love it, and this is my thing, and when I talk to like my clients now, I'm like, if this is something that you don't love, you're going to easily quit it. So don't do it, right? You can always figure out what your passion is, and I can help you monetize whatever your passion is, but go after the thing that you love to do, right? And so I just kept taking classes. I was like, I know it's not nursing. I'm just going to take like general classes until I can figure out what it is God is telling me that I need to do. And I took a psychology class one day and loved that class so much. I stayed after class one day and I asked the professor, I was like, what can I do in this field? Right. Cause I mean, I don't even know if you could get a degree in this. Mm-hmm. And girl, he was so passionate about it. He had a doctorate in it. He was like, oh, let me tell you, girl, he just started running it all down to me. So immediately from there, I went and changed my major to psychology and got my undergrad in psychology and then got my master's in counseling because I love working with people's mind. Mm-hmm. I know that when you can transition a person's thought, like you can change their whole life if you can transition the way that they think about things. Absolutely. Right? And so it's always fascinating to me when I could do like the mindset work with people and they have that aha moment and then their behavior start lining up with that aha and then they start seeing a whole different life, right? I'm always like, oh my God, I'm always excited when I can see that mental transition, right? And so like with you, like you could tell like you passionate about this nursing thing or whatever, mm-hmm. right? Like working with the help, like in the summit last week, I'm gonna drop a little nugget because y'all missed it. Y'all had to have been there. Last week, like you could see the people that follow you as a result of like your passion for this and helping and so supporting healthcare professionals win in this game, right? In the game of healthcare, but also being able to monetize it in such a way that they support their lives. Like what made you start the summit that you started?
So I started the conference in 2019. After, and I had just really gotten full-time into consulting. So before I started coaching and consulting, I was just a healthcare business owner. I had the home care at that time. I just had the home care agency, and I started helping other people. And in my own development as a business person, I came to realize that clinically, I had it down pat. There was nothing you could tell me about how to run this business clinically. Business-wise, I was a struggle because I didn't know anything about business.
Correct.
Right. And most of my clients too. So while we were getting things together and we could get everything off clinically, you had this other component to where, okay, why am I not making the money that I should be making? Why is my business not flourishing the way it should? And it was because of the deficiencies in the business side. So that's when I decided I need to bring in the other professionals who have scopes that are far outside of mine. Like I'm not an accountant, but I know I need a CPA.
Correct.
I'm not a lawyer, but I know I need one for contracts, right? I know I'm not an HR representative, but I need to be able to have steady, healthy HR functions in my business, right? Correct. I know I'm not a marketing and branding professional, but I know I need that in order for my business to flourish. All of these things, I realized I needed to pull together so that we could all be well-rounded business owners. And so that's what started the conference. Okay. I started pulling, I call them my super friends. And that you're one of my super friends because we realized that self-care
and mindset
are huge. Yes. You gotta be a millionaire or a billionaire up here first. Before you will ever see it on paper or in your bank account. And that's something that we're getting into when I started pulling them in. So every year we get together for this conference we do, and we bring all the healthcare entrepreneurs together. And not only do they get Nurse T and what I can bring, but also all the things that I do not specialize in that I know we need, that my super friends do, and we all get together. And that's actually how the membership came about. We have a membership. And it came about through the conference. People were like, okay, the conference was amazing, but we don't do it again until next year. What can I have year round? What can I do year round to keep me, grounded in all of these areas? And so that's how it came about. I just wanted the things that I knew I needed as a business owner. I knew somebody else did too.
Absolutely. So tell the audience how entrepreneurship has helped to move your life in new directions. We're talking like, when I say moving in new directions, like how has that helped you to establish legacy for your family, more me time, time to travel? Like what has it done to help you to move your life in new directions?
Oh man. Well, first of all, I give all praises and honors to the Lord up above because none of this would be possible without God. We have our own talents and things like that, but we have to realize that that's given to us. We don't, we just, that's anointed, right? But what it has done, healthcare entrepreneurship has done for me was allow me to live the life of my dreams. You know, I came from a single parent family. My mom worked. She gave us a very good life. But, you know, we didn't, as a child, I didn't do like a whole bunch of traveling. And we traveled, but it wasn't like what I can offer to my children and my grandchildren now. There was some struggles with me, you know, growing up and coming into my own and having the hustle to get this and get that. But what healthcare entrepreneurship has done to me is to be able to create a legacy for my family. All of my children are self-employed, all of them, right? With the exception of the baby girl. She just got out of college. She's working in the hospital to learn and get, you know, develop in her profession. But the ultimate goal is she's going to start a private agency herself. I've been able to secure a legacy for my grandchildren. Like, you know, when I grew up, we went to public school because my mom couldn't, we ain't have, my grandkids go to private school, right? They travel. They're able, you know, their parents don't have to worry about anything when it comes to them. When I leave this earth, there are going to be businesses to carry on the generations. Myself, my own life, it's just been, gosh, I mean, to be able to be there and present for my parents. They're getting older now, right? I can be Johnny on the spot. My mother's in Philadelphia, right? My father's here in Georgia. I'm taking care of him. You know, these are things that I would not be able to do had not been for my time freedom first and foremost, and then financial freedom. You know, just the freedom to be able to do what I want when I want. When I want to take a break, I tell my husband, hey, let's go to such and such. All right, book a trip. Like those aren't things that I was able to do when I was just punching a time clock. Right. So and in turn, that allows me to be a better me, because now I can function and focus solely on what I want to do and not what I have to do.
Right.
I can take the time for me to be me. I'm 52 years old. This is time for me to live. My kids are grown. I've done my job. This is me time. Right. And we all know how the economy is now. We don't know if there's going to be Social Security around by the time we're 65. I am my own retirement plan. My businesses are my retirement plan.
That's right.
And I joke all the time, but I'll be really serious. I ain't leaving all my money for my kids. No, man. We
said that last week.
We living real good right now. Now, I one thing for certain, two things for sure. They know how to make their own money. I left you a legacy. Baby, this money getting spent up.
Money getting spent. Okay.
I got some nice policies, some nice life insurance policies for you. This money right here. Oh, we finna live good.
Don't spend it. Okay, go enjoy the fruit of my labor. You know, I said that last week when I spoke with VIP Day. I said, I'm not leaving these kids my money, baby. I'm going to spend my money. I'm going to leave y'all this legacy, but this money going to be for me. I'm working for this money.
Y'all got all of this up here. You know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. So I'm going to enjoy the fruit of my labor because I work hard for it. Yep.
And it's, you know, it just feels good to be able to not have to worry about things like, you know, you know, when it's time for me to sit down, because I ain't gonna be doing this forever, right? But I have a plan, like I'm well taken care of. When it's time for me to just sit down and just be me, right? Exactly. There's no, you know, how am I gonna support my lifestyle? You know, that's all taken care of because of entrepreneurship.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is definitely the way that you all would leverage entrepreneurship, and which is what I tell you all the time. Like, if you work in a business that you're passionate about, yes, it's going to get hard at some time, right? But you won't give up on it because it doesn't leave you, right? It's never going to leave you. So if you build a business on something that you're passionate about, you won't quit even in the hard times, right? But then you learn how to add multiple streams of income in that business so that you can leverage those streams of income to support the life that you want to live, like your lifestyle. You heard Nurse T say like her grandchildren are in private school. My children both graduated from private schools, right? I didn't graduate from private school. I went to public school all my life.
Public school.
All of my siblings, we was public school.
Right.
My children never stepped foot in a public school, right? Because that was the lifestyle that I wanted to give them. I was born and raised in a project in a hood. My children didn't grow up in the hood, right? Because I wanted to provide them a different lifestyle. I wanted to change the narrative for them, right? And make sure it was different from mine. So entrepreneurship has definitely allowed me to do that, because I've been doing this full time for 12 years now, right? And so it gives you the freedom, the time freedom, the flexibility of having your own finances, whatever that looks like, all the great things, right? And so I do encourage, even if you all explore entrepreneurship on a part-time basis, if you're not, saying, hey, I know it's hard and this is that or whatever, and I don't want to do it full-time because I don't feel like doing that level of hustle. It's not for everybody full-time. I'm not going to lie to you, right? But if you have everybody has a gift, everybody has a talent, you can definitely monetize it on a part-time basis to create some other avenues that you want in your life for your children, your legacy, your family, and whatever else it is. So I do strongly encourage it to kind of figure that out, right? So Nurse T, tell the people, like, what do you have coming up? And then also tell them how they can stay in touch with you and follow you.
Absolutely. So my website, www.nursetcoaching.com. Everything I got going on is on there. But just to let you guys know, Level Up 2024 Healthcare Business Conference, early bird tickets drop today. As a matter of fact, later on this afternoon, we are taking the conference at sea on a cruise.
Yes.
And so it's going to be amazing. We've got the membership that's always going year round. All information can be found on my website. Follow me at The Real Nurse T everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, when I'm on there. You can find me anywhere. Follow your girl, Annette J. Morris.
Yes.
Go getter. So she shares my stuff. We share each other's stuff. So
yes,
yeah, we're out here. We're out here just trying to spread, the word about the beauty of healthcare entrepreneurship, that you don't have to be the slave to a bedside or to a time clock, that there are so many different opportunities out here, even for those who don't or aren't ready to make that complete and total shift into full-time entrepreneurship. There's lots of things that you can do in addition to working your job still. So like you said, Annette, it's not for everybody. Everybody doesn't transition at the same time, but there's something out here. One of my long time mantras that I've always used is for everything that you know, for all of the knowledge, for every single thing that you know, there is someone out there who will pay you to teach them how to do it.
That's good.
Everything.
That's good.
I don't care if it's selling orange polo shirts. If you know how to sell them well, there's somebody out here that will pay you to teach them how to sell them orange polo shirts.
That's right.
Right. So any knowledge you have, anything, like anything deep down inside, because, at the end of the day, everybody wants to live a free life. You have people say, nah, that's not for me. No, everybody wants to be time-free and financially free. And you can be simply by utilizing what you've already got, but you got to be right up here.
Yep, absolutely.
You got to have your mind right to even pull those things out of you and have the confidence in yourself that, hey, I know I'm a master.
Yeah,
I can teach other people this, so I can serve other people with these tools. So that's what we're all about.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much, Nurse T. I certainly appreciate you, my girl, for coming on with us this week.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely, girl. Definitely had to. Look, we were supposed to have her in May, and something happened, so she here today. So thank God we still here.
Yes.
Stay tuned. Next week, same time, same place, same concept. We're gonna have another boss entrepreneur that's gonna tell you about their journey to and through entrepreneurship and how it has helped their life to move into new directions. So until next week, see y'all later. Bye. Welcome to Go Getter University. It's the home and a one-stop for entrepreneurs teaching all things entrepreneurship. We have courses ranging from how to start a business, how to start a nonprofit organization, to how to generate your first 10K consistent month, on to grant writing. Anything that you want to learn about entrepreneurship, it is in Go Getter University. Follow us at www.goalgetteruniversity.com to register.